Hello class. Today we are going to start chapter number 4. The title of this chapter is chemical bond. So a chemical bond is defined as the lasting attraction between atoms, ions or molecules that enables the formation of a chemical compounds. So this is the relationship of atoms making compounds. The bond may result from the electrostatic force of attraction between oppositely charged ions, as in the case of ionic bonds, or the bond may also result by the sharing of electrons, as in the case of covalent bonds. So how the atoms combine, either by sharing electrons or by gaining or losing electrons. But the attraction between bonding atoms in a compound is called as a chemical bond. Now we will be seeing that why atoms are reacting and why atoms need to be bonded. Here we are going to study about two very important rules which explain the nature of elements, the atoms, of making chemical compounds. The octet rule refers to the tendency of atoms to prefer to have 8 electrons in the valence shell. So this rule is about the capacity or the tendency or the willingness of atoms to have at least 8 electrons in their outermost shell. The outermost shell is also called as valence shell. And when atoms have fewer than 8 electrons, they tend to react and form stable compounds. So having 8 electrons is a condition of being stable. And when atoms do not have 8 electrons, means they have fewer electrons than 8, then they go to make bonds with other atoms to make stable compounds. So this is the gaining of stability, in fact. So we see there is a group in periodic table, the noble gases, or the 8th group. We see except helium, all of the noble gases are having 8 electrons in their outermost shell or valence shell, you see. So by studying or by viewing their electronic configuration, we can predict that if the noble gases are stable, they are not reactive, they exist without making bonds. The reason is their 8 electrons in their outermost shell, making them stable. So if it is a question that why noble gases do not react, so the reason is because of having 8 electrons, or by following octet rule, they are showing stability. So we see the structures of noble gases: neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. All of the noble gases, their atoms are showing their stability because of having 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Now we see, as the hydrogen atom has only 1 electron, it cannot have 8 electrons because the first shell can accommodate only 2 electrons, and same is the case for helium. Helium is the noble gas. So helium, both of its electrons are present in K shell. So the second rule is the doublet rule, which is applied for only hydrogen and helium. So helium is showing stability due to its stable configuration, and as the hydrogen attains the configuration similar to helium, it's getting also stability. The doublet rule that states that some elements can be stable with 2 electrons in their shell. Hydrogen and helium are special cases that do not follow the octet rule but the doublet rule. Now we see the type of a chemical bond depends on how atoms are making that attraction. If atoms are reacting, like this is one atom which is giving its electron to another atom, as they gain and lose electrons in between, they are ionized. One of the atom which loses electron becomes positively ionized, and the atom which gains electron is negatively ionized. As you know that the oppositely charged bodies have got a strong electrostatic force of attraction between them. So when atoms gain and lose electrons, they form their bond by forming ions or making ionic bonds. But on the other hand, when they share their electrons mutually, then they form covalent bond, as in the case of this. The covalent bond is formed when a pair of electron is equally or mutually shared between atoms, making a covalent compound. So now we have to see deeper in the atomic level that whenever a bond is forming, there must be some forces acting. First, the attractive forces. The attractive forces are operating when the electrons of one atom are attracted by the nucleus of the other atom. So this attractive force gets the atom closer. Like if two atoms are approaching, they are coming closer for the bond formation, and the positive nucleus of one atom is attracting the electronic cloud of the other atom. The atom tries to come closer. At the same time, the electronic cloud of one atom starts repelling the electronic cloud of the other atom. So repulsive forces are also acting. We see if the repulsive forces dominate over attractive forces, the bond will not be formed. But in the case when attractive forces dominate, then the bond will be formed. Now we see when the atoms are bonding and they succeed to make a bond, means the energy of the system must be lowered. So when the energy drops, the compound becomes stable. That's what atoms are trying to get. This is stability, and stability is always achieved by lowering the energy of the systems. Now today's class was all about the formation of chemical bond and how they make bonds, what are the possibilities they make bonds. So today's lesson outcomes is why atoms make a bond, what is a chemical bond, and what is a doublet, and octet rule. Just go through the topic with from your textbook and watch the video again and again so that you will be finding the answers of these questions. Just understand them first, then write them. See you class. Take care. God bless you.